What if I told you there was a way to make $500 to $1,000 every single day with only risking $20? Well, I'd be lying. However, I can show you how you can make the most out of any opportunity using a very simple process that I follow. Whether you make 100, 500, 2,000 really depends on how much you risk as well as the quality of opportunity. You're prepared at the right locations and opportunity rewards you. So in this video, we're going to jump into it real quick, not waste any time. We're going to start over on TradeZella. I want to share with you my trade results for the session. You can see that right here. If we look over at TradeZella, I am up $513 on the day. That is through a total of 3 trades. Win rate was only 33%. So that means you could lose quite often and still be profitable. It's all about the size of these winners and losers. I started the day pretty strong. We're going to go over this main trade idea right here. We see that I got long NQ. Very low in the cycle. Added, and then I was able to trail out effectively near the highs, right at the rotation. This is because I was using a trailing management system. I was trailing my stop as we went higher, as well as I was aware of the fact that the 930 open for New York was likely to see some volatility. Now I would have hoped maybe we would have seen a move higher. However, I'm okay with this. That's why I was willing to sell right there. I did try 2 more ideas, one right here and then one right here. So kind of right, kind of wrong, right? Like the idea didn't work for me, but I was only willing to risk $70, which is not all that much. If you want to kind of compare these ideas, very, very shallow, I risked 40 and 70. So you can see right here, we got this. Basically got into this wick and then pulled back on me. Just expecting that I might have been off size. I went ahead and just took it off and I was okay with that. I was thinking that we might see a bounce here from VWAP to go higher. But the idea was essentially this. I wanted to see us potentially, number one, follow my game plan, right? So I share that with you, everyone in the Discord daily. And you can see here, my main idea was I wanted to be involved at either at 18,750, 19,000, or, into this 250 area for the continuation. We got our entry around 19,000. And our idea is we wanted to see price materialize and move above this weekly open. So if I share with you this chart right here, you can see the weekly open is annotated. We got our hold right here and we just barely stepped above and then dropped lower. So the idea worked perfectly. If you guys are not in the Discord, definitely join, take advantage of that. These are free resources that you could be using and utilizing for your trading every single day. There's no excuse that you need to be missing levels when I give them to you ahead of time. So with that being said, back to the charts, we're going to go over a couple more things and we'll get right into it. You can see that pretty clearly this just wasn't a trade for me. It didn't work out where I needed it to, and that's perfectly fine. That happens. That's why you have the risk. So what I do daily over on Top One Futures, 150K account, this is what I trade on. You can see that right here, I'm up $513 on the day. You do not have to have big wins every single day as long as you respect your risks. So you can see that my risk is set here and I set a trade limit half of the time, right? Some days I'll give myself more opportunity to kind of try it out, try to trade. But you can see that based on how I performed today, I only took a couple trades. So looking at the monthly stats, we're up $2,600. 513 of that was today through 6 trades. Taking partials, adding to the trade, and then, sometimes that'll be the deciding factor on whether I have a lot of executions or a little. On a day like this, I added to the position. So you can see that overall equity growth is going well. And then the goal is just to continue this pretty strong into the end of the month. You guys can see up $513. So we don't have to do anything crazy every single day. We want to kind of stay consistent because on our 150K account, you'll see right here, the goal is to stay within this 20% for me. So $400 gets you 150K account code DTA all month. Take advantage of that. It's a ridiculous deal. In this market, you definitely need the extra drawdown, I would say. So being able to risk as much as 3,700 on the day to potentially get paid out on this 150K account, it's worth it in my opinion. But back to the charts, I'm going to break down a little bit of what we see going on right now. We can see that we're kind of digging back into this new week opening gap, which is perfectly acceptable, right? We saw a stab at the highs right here, you can see, and then it fell. That's very common. It's rare for a gap to get left unfilled. It's nice when it does happen, but it is very rare. So what do we see going forward into the rest of the week? Well, I would like to see this essentially kind of hold right here, right? And then us to kind of potentially close a little bit higher, maybe around the halfway point. And then we look to trade through this 19,500 into the end of the week. When I approach a trade, I want to have very simple logic. So I'm going to have, number one, a level of interest. These are some of the levels that I shared with you just a moment ago from the premium levels section in the Discord. Those levels are going to help me align with the trade. More specifically, how I was able to position for this trade, and ultimately every single trade, is I'm going to have some sort of reference point. In this scenario where I was able to get long off the open, or ahead of the open rather, I took a trade versus VWAP, and there was also midnight open in this area. So this would be my midpoint reference range. You also see 19,000, my notable levels right there, up to the 19,250. So pretty much perfect picture. Frame this, done. Like amazing trade, 10 out of 10. A plus trade all the way around, management, execution, flawless. If you can trade like this every single day, you'd be a very, very happy individual. I know today was a pretty solid day for me. It's never about the profits, but it is about the ease. I mean, you got to understand, I risked $20 in this position. My initial stop loss was $20 down here. I was able to add to the position and move my stop to break even. And then I added to the position again right here. And then I added to the position again right here. And ultimately, I could have added right here. Then I just needed to trail it aggressively. But I only added a total of 4 contracts and was able to make on this trade alone $600. And then I gave back a little bit here and a little bit right here. So a little bit early on some of these, but on the second trades, however, it did work. We did see that bounce that I was looking for on this later move. It just was without me, which is fine. I go ahead and when I'm done trading, I lock up my accounts so I don't have to worry about pressing something or going back and trading outside of my plan. Just stick to it, keep it simple. This is a huge asset that you guys should be using. Utilize this 24/7 when you are trading. Take advantage of the risk settings, the trade limits, do all this stuff to help you build good habits. And once it becomes part of who you are as a trader, then you could talk about maybe taking it off. But for what it is a huge resource that a lot of traders just underutilize. So I definitely recommend taking advantage of that. And hopefully you learned something from today's trade example. It was pretty simple in my opinion. It wasn't really a complex trade. I mean, we can see it right here on the 5-minute. It just kind of goes up. These are the markets that I do insanely well in because I have a belief that markets can just continue. And I don't carry that belief over as much as I should into the short-sided trades because we are seeing, I mean, look at this crazy scenario to the downside. Yeah, that's quite extreme. However, I'm able to see it to the upside pretty well. So I never get scared out of a long when it's up high. I can keep buying up here. I was willing to buy up as high as like 200s from my initial entry down here, So it's for me, it's easy to have that delusional belief to the upside. To the downside, that's something I got to work on. So in today's video, want to keep it short and sweet. Hope you guys learned something. If you do get value out of these videos, leave a like below, comment, share, and we'll talk soon. Hope you made some money today. If not, well, you got a journal. Take advantage of that, and we'll talk soon. Later.